All right, so before me today, we have an intake manifold off of a Ford Mustang motor. This thing is in severe need of some touch up. As you can see, it's been sitting outside. It's got some weather, it's got a ton of dirt on it. So what we are going to do with this part is, first I'm gonna show you guys how clean we can get this with just water using our hydroblast. Then afterwards, I'm actually gonna use vapor honing to show you how we can actually remove past that surface level of contamination. I'm gonna leave the sensor housing right here, or not housing, but plug. I'm gonna leave the sensor plug so you can see how vapor honing affects plastic, and also how it affects these letters down here so you can see it won't actually damage any of this surface material. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first machine we're actually going to be using here is our hydroblast, and as you guys can see, we're up to 116 degrees Fahrenheit. So this thing is nice and toasty. Now again, this is just high pressure water. Now we do have an aqueous based detergent in here that's just going to help kind of break up that grease and grime on the surface. Now I'm mainly going to be focusing on one quadrant of this part, but with that you guys will actually be able to see the worst looking part of this piece, in my opinion, and we'll actually be able to see what we can remove, again, with just high pressure water. Now, with the hydroblast, you're gonna be getting around 1200 PSI of pressure, which as you can see, is quite a bit. All right, see how she looks. All right, now from a first glance, I'm not sure if you can tell much that happened, but if you really start to look, I was even taking off that top layer of grease and grime from this side. Now again, this thing is high pressure, again, you're 1200 PSI, but it doesn't have an aggregate. So that's what separates this from vapor honing. This actually does not have a media in there. Now the media is what actually supplies a lot of the cleaning and scrubbing action. So that's why you can actually see this oil and grease that's left on the surface, that's past that top layer, that's actually in the substrate. Because if I take my clean finger and rub it on the dirty part, it's gonna have some water, but it actually doesn't leave any sort of residue on my finger. And that's because everything that was on the top layer has been removed. So what a hydroblast is really for is taking a part that is completely covered with grease and grime, throwing it in here, quickly taking all that off and not having to worry about media. Whereas with a vapor honing machine, you have to pull it out, you have to dry it, you have to make sure all of that media has been removed. But with a hydroblast, it's no worry. So now we are actually going to use a vapor honing machine. This is the VH1000. This also has a heater, and that's kind of one of the cool benefits of a vapor honing machine is you can use it similar to a parts washer. Again, you do have the water in this system, so as you're blasting, you're also washing the part off. So you don't have to worry if you have any cutting fluids left on the part. You don't have to worry if you do have a ton of grease and grime that comes off. It all gets diluted and put into your rinse water and filtered. But that being said, again, vapor honing does have an aggregate. We're using a glass bead in this machine here. That's actually gonna leave us with a nice polished finish, but it's gonna be able to remove that grease and grime that's stuck in the substrate. And it's actually gonna leave us with a much better looking part and also a smoother looking part. Let's prove that. This turned out absolutely fantastic. I don't know if you guys can see this, but the plastic piece was not damaged. The brass piece below it looks phenomenal. And of course, this aluminum body looks phenomenal. I mean, I really was not thinking that it was gonna turn out this good because I really thought there was gonna be more pitting due to the amount of grime that was just sitting on this thing, but it looks fantastic. I'm sure you can see, especially on this side, the stark contrast between what we didn't treat and what has been treated. Now to kind of recap, I don't know if you guys have ever used a traditional style parts washer with the little wand and the scrubber. That takes forever and you don't get anywhere near as good of results as you do with a hydroblast. And the hydroblast is simply made to just quickly take a part like this, throw it in there, knock all that surface level contaminants off, and quickly put that part back to use. It's not made to get this level of surface refinement like you get with the vapor honing machine. And again, the vapor honing machine did a fantastic job. One thing I do want to point out is while I was actually doing this top section here, I wasn't actually focusing on the carbon buildup that's inside of these runners, but even with glass bead, which is a circular abrasive, it's made more to roll the fibers of the part. So like with this aluminum, that's what actually produces the shine, is the glass bead. It was actually taking off that carbon buildup inside of these runners, which is crazy to me because normally that's difficult to take off. But again, this thing turned out phenomenal. If you guys are actually ready to get this equipment in your shop today, you can call us at 828-202-5563 or check out vaporhauntingtechnologies.com. And even if there's anything you guys want to see us do or blast in these machines, leave it in the comments below. We'll try and incorporate that into a video for you guys. But if you like this style of content, again, please give us a thumbs up. Make sure you guys stay subscribed. If you have any questions, the number is 828-202-5563. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Peace.